Hello. Happy Monday. How's it going? I'm laughing because I had scheduled this live to run about 20 minutes ago, and my dogs sidetracked me. Best laid plans is the saying. So welcome. I'm Julia with Balanced Life with Julia, regenerative health practitioner, holistic nutritionist. Boy, am I excited to be here today because I'm going to be talking about thyroid health and supplements and a couple of other things. And yeah, let's get into it. So, thyroid health. I dealt with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's for years. I am very familiar with how frustrating thyroid conditions can be. And I also had the experience of taking supplements for a long time. I actually was just speaking to a fellow practitioner this afternoon, and I just shared with her, like, yeah, I would go to the MD. The MD would give me medications. I went to a naturopath, multiple different naturopaths, and multiple different doctors over years of dealing with this chronic health issue. And the MDs would give me medications, and the naturopaths would push supplements at me. And to the point where I was probably spending somewhere between $300 to $500 a month on supplements. And now I take zero supplements. I've also been completely off medication now for over 5 years, a condition that doctors told me that I would have to just live with and tolerate for the rest of my life. Not true. I reversed it. I reversed it all. So my position on supplementation, in general is I'm not a fan of supplements. I personally don't take them. I use whole foods, it's superfoods, and that's what I utilize. And the reason really has to do with the fact that when you're taking supplements, which are isolates, oftentimes a lot of supplements that are on the market aren't even that good quality. And so that the quality aspect of it is very, very important, because when you have poor quality supplements going into the body, that's going to stress your liver. It's going to stress your gut and your kidneys and your lymph system in general. When you're putting things like that in your body has to deal with it. It has to figure out, where is it going to go? How am I going to get rid of it? And at the cell level, isolates can displace essential nutrients. Now, oftentimes for those who are dealing with hypothyroidism, which is, apologies, that was my alarm. When you're dealing with, let me turn this sucker off. Just FYI, I have alarms. You can utilize this. This is a total aside, but you can utilize this for your own personal growth and development. I have several alarms that I put on my phone throughout the day, and they're basically mindset alarms. They're actually alarms that are connected to the creator and the spirit. And so every time one of these alarms goes off, it actually reminds me to connect to the higher power. So if this is something that you want to utilize in your own daily life, I highly suggest it. I have several of them. They go off at various points of the day. And it just reminds me that no matter what is happening in this world, I am not in charge. The creator is in charge. I'm just here along for the ride to try to help as many people as I can and have fun along the way. All right. So back to supplements. So at the cell level, supplements can displace essential nutrients, and over time, it can actually create more further imbalances. So remember that our body is divinely designed. When we put whole foods and superfoods, like something like spirulina or Kmut, into our body knows what that is. It knows how to utilize it properly. But in the case of thyroid issues, there are certain key things that can be out of balance, like not enough B vitamins, selenium issues, zinc issues, vitamin D issues. And oftentimes, most of the time, what this actually has to do with is the state of someone's gut health. And anytime that somebody is dealing with a chronic health issue, no matter what the issue is, whether it's thyroid issues, MS, diabetes, cancer, it is connected to the gut. All disease begins in the gut. And so when you're dealing with certain chronic health issues, you must first also look to the state of someone's gut health. It is not enough to just look at somebody's, like it's not enough to be dealing with a chronic health issue and think that you're going to supplement your way out of it. That's not possible, because what is probably happening at the gut level is absorption issues, and that happens all the time. Just because you're eating food doesn't mean that it's getting utilized by your body properly. In fact, I'm willing to put good money on the table that you're not absorbing everything that you're putting into your body. Gram for gram, you're not. It's impossible. First of all, 15% of your nutrients goes right off the top. It goes out the window because your body has to utilize those nutrients in order to break down the food. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, most people at some point in time didn't really do well by their diet, and they ate things that they were not supposed to be eating, that are not designed for the human body. And what ends up happening is that messes up your colon big time. Long after you've stopped eating those foods, it's still messing up your colon. And it's affecting your body's ability to absorb nutrients. And this is why I have been such a proponent for the last 6 years for superfoods, because I know that you're going to be putting more nutrition into your body in one simple power shake than anything that you can eat in the course of a day. And I also know that you're going to get more utilization from that power shake, because your body doesn't have to break it down. It doesn't have to try to, take it apart in order to absorb it. It can just absorb it. So already you're going to improve your nutrient quality right off the bat. And then, of course, with every single person I work with, we work on gut health. That, like, it's foundational. It right from the get-go. We're working on repairing the lining of the gut. We're working on getting the chemicals and the heavy metals out of the gut. Why? Because that way we can improve nutrient absorption over time, right? So that more of what the foods that somebody is eating is actually getting absorbed by the body. Nobody's absorbing 100% of the nutrients they're eating. So you can try to do so well by your diet, and it's not getting to where you think it's going to. And that's why gut health is foundational. So if you are someone who's dealing with hypothyroidism, and this has been my firsthand experience, I dealt with hypothyroidism for years, like 6 long and desperate years. And I was trying to fix it by trying to fix my diet. And it wasn't until I started working on gut health and addressing parasites and repairing the tight junctions of my gut. By the way, I was diagnosed with leaky gut. So I'm not guessing that I had leaky gut. I know for a fact I had leaky gut. And so I had to address those issues in order to let my body actually heal itself. So gut health is foundational. You cannot supplement your way out of thyroid issues. You have to look at gut health. You have to address the absorption issues. And then you won't even need to supplement. I say, have a power shake and be done with it, right? Power shake. And the other one that I love is there's something called Zinc Aid, and it has vitamins A, D, C, and E plus zinc, which are the nutrients that most people are missing. It's all food sourced. And personally, I've been using that every single day now for, it's going on over 4 years. So it's just really about being smarter about what you're putting into your body and understanding how it works and what the effect is within the body. So if you are someone who's dealing with hypothyroidism, stop looking to supplements. Start looking at your diet, start detoxifying your body, and also address gut issues and parasites, because that's always a factor in every single chronic health issue. Gut issues and parasites are a factor. And this is something that most people never look at. I know for myself, for example, when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, my other half, my brilliant other half, Michael, he's like, you probably need to do a parasite cleanse. And this was like before I became a practitioner, before before I went down the rabbit hole of research I've done the last several years. And I had no idea what he was talking about. No idea. I was like, what do you mean? I don't have parasites. Everyone has parasites. Like, as a human being, we all have parasites. And so it wasn't like, and it was interesting because that period between 2018 to about July of 2019, before I did the lifestyle transformation, I had cut out sugar. I had got rid of caffeine. I was doing all of these, dietary changes, eliminated processed food. So I was definitely on the right track, but I was not all the way there. And I was also taking a lot of supplements, and none of the supplements were helping either. So it's really understanding that when we're dealing with thyroid issues, that we're definitely also dealing with gut and liver issues as well. So liver is the other thing I forgot to mention. Liver is really, really important because it has to process every single toxic chemical we allow into our body. Our liver is stuck doing the heavy lifting in terms of trying to get it out and figuring out where to put it, right? So, if everything that you're breathing in, everything that your skin is absorbing, right? So whatever is in the atmosphere can absorb into your body through your skin. Remember that your skin is an organ. And then, of course, the chemicals from personal care products. I don't know how to turn that off. I really got to figure that out. So the chemicals from personal care products, from makeup, from from the foods, from water that you're drinking, all of these things that have any level of toxicity, your liver is what has to deal with all of that. And so this is why it's also really important, if you're wanting to address the root causes of hypothyroidism, instead of putting a Band-Aid on it and taking supplements, like really look to, number one, overhauling your diet, getting rid of the inflammatory foods, but then also look at your gut health and seriously look at detoxifying from chemicals and heavy metals and addressing parasites. If you can do that over a consistent period of time, your health will improve. And I've had many clients over the years who've also successfully managed to reverse hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's and get off medication. Like I've I've seen miraculous turnarounds in people. So it is possible. I'm not the only unicorn in the room. I'm not the only person who has seen their health improve as a result of addressing the quality of the diet, getting rid of the things that are inflammatory, like, processed foods, processed sugars, loads of meat and dairy. Dairy and animal products in general are total killers when it comes to thyroid health, because what happens within the body is that the proteins from the dairy and the animal products create an antibody response within the body, and then those antibodies turn around and attack the thyroid issue. So this is why it's also about cleaning up your diet and just understanding that certain things are just so pro-inflammatory in our body that there's really no wiggle room there. You have to get rid of certain things, unless, of course, you want to continue to suffer. If you want to continue to have health issues, then keep those foods in your diet. But I personally like feeling really good in my body. Like, I like having glowing skin and waking up in the morning with energy and not having any aches or pains. Like, ooh. Anyway, So I like feeling that way. So I'm willing to give up the things that are not helpful for that. Alcohol is another big one. And alcohol is it's very toxic. It's literally poison. It is so toxic to your body that your liver, I say this all the time, so toxic to your body that your liver, which has about 200 jobs to do, stops doing all of those other things to get the alcohol out of your system. And for women in particular, we metabolize alcohol slower than men, and it is far more damaging to our health. So I haven't had a drink in, I guess it's been 5 years, close to 5 years now. I don't miss it. And the other thing with alcohol in particular is it will mess with T4 and T3. So it will mess with your thyroid function. If you're wanting to feel good in your body and really support your thyroid, I would seriously consider getting rid of alcohol altogether. The other thing is, my life has gotten a lot more fun since I ditched alcohol. I'm just saying. It is a party over here, and I love it. So that's what I'm going to say about hypothyroidism and supplements in general. The only thing that I do recommend pretty much across the board for most of my clients, whether they're dealing with thyroid issues or other issues, is there's also a connection between thyroid and your adrenals. They kind of they work in tandem, they're buddies. And so oftentimes what can happen is that when you're dealing with a lot of stress, your thyroid gland will try and support the adrenals, which can create some challenges within the body. So I always recommend, I've done this now for 8 years. And in the 8 years, it's hard for me not to notice certain patterns and in the types of issues that people have and which organs, which systems in the body are affected. So across the board, I would say 100% of people have adrenal, gut, and liver issues. And then depending on what the health condition is, maybe someone's dealing with pancreas issues, maybe someone's dealing with thyroid issues or parathyroid issues, depending on the symptoms that are showing up in their body. But hands down, 100% of people have gut, liver, and adrenal issues. And that's just because of the modern lifestyle, the pace that we go at, the types of things that we're consuming and putting within our body, the pharmaceuticals, the processed foods, antibiotics, all of those things that are damaging to gut health, and just the sheer amount of toxicity we're exposed to. Of course, everybody's liver is overworked. Everyone's liver is overworked and overwhelmed. And so it's hard for me not to notice those patterns. And with thyroid issues in particular, those we have to be looking at not only gut and liver health, but also adrenals. So what I love to do in terms of supporting adrenals is stinging nettle tea is one of my go-tos, and also Irish sea moss. So those are two things that I generally recommend for most people, is to get on drinking stinging nettles. That's also good for your kidneys, and also some Irish sea moss. And the minerals from Irish sea moss are supportive both for thyroid health and for adrenal health. So you'll get the benefits of both when you're having Irish sea moss. Now, for the longest time, I was doing Irish sea moss, and for the last, I would say 4 or 5 months, I've shifted over to Shilajit. But I don't know, maybe I'll go back to Irish sea moss. Shilajit, I don't need as much of it. Irish sea moss, you basically need to have 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. With the Shilajit, you just need a very, 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 very less than an eighth of a teaspoon. So it's very little that's required that I'll have in a day. And I usually just take it and I'll put it in some water and just let it dissolve over a period of few hours, and then I'll drink it. It doesn't taste that good, but I'm only having a little bit. So It doesn't bother me whatsoever. So that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of supplements and thyroid health. I hope that helps. But as with anything health related, we want to go far beyond just the surface of putting a band-aid on things. That's what supplements and medication is. Those are just band-aids. We want to get to the root. So the root really has to do with proper hydration, proper nutrition, detoxification, getting rid of the chemicals and the heavy metals and addressing the parasites and supporting the gut, healing up those tight junctions of the gut so that the body can function better. And in that, you will notice that your mood will improve, your energy will improve, your nutrient absorption will improve. You'll just start to feel better, which is what we want. Yeah, it's interesting. Just before I got on this live, like maybe about an hour ago, one of my clients, her mom is the sweetest woman. She did my health blueprint program a couple years ago, and we've kept in touch. And through that program, I introduced her to the superfoods, to molecular hydrogen, to like some of my favorite tools. And I guess she had some dental work done recently, and her daughter reached out to me and wanted to know, like, because I guess her mom's dentist wants to put her on antibiotics. And the mother and daughter, they know that antibiotics, how toxic they are to gut health and how much they damage gut health. And obviously they don't want to do it. So she's like, well, what can I use? And so, well, in terms of the pain and the inflammation, you can use the gel that I suggested and put it right on the spot. You can use the molecular hydrogen and run the recovery frequencies on that and have her drink that and just kind of swish it around her mouth, because what that'll do is reduce the inflammation. And then just in terms of preventing infection, there's a liquid that she can drink that basically removes any pathogens, parasites, bacteria, mold, fungi, that kind of stuff. And she can just drink an ounce for a whole, like 4 to 5 days, maybe longer. And that should prevent infection. But in that, she's not going to destroy her gut. She's not going to compromise her health in any way. And it's going to take care of any pathogens or parasites. And I love the fact that I have these amazing tools at my fingertips that I can recommend to people, knowing with full confidence that it's going to help support their health and well-being, and it's not going to bring any further toxicity into their body. Because whether we're breathing in chemicals from the atmosphere or chemicals in our food or personal care products or what have you, or we're taking in chemicals in the form of pharmaceuticals, those have far-reaching effects that are damaging for our health. And so at the best, what we want to do is start to reduce that toxic chemical overload and just be smarter about what we're utilizing going forward. And I love the fact that as a practitioner, I've been working with some of these amazing modalities that actually support people's health and don't harm them in any way. So, yeah. All right. You know that I always love to do a mindset piece, and it is Monday, and nothing is better than doing mindset work on a Monday. And earlier today, I've been working very closely with a spiritual teacher. So I met with her earlier today, and I was just sharing with her that I don't understand how this happened or where this awareness came from. But last year, I started to become just profoundly grateful for all of the challenges that I've faced in my life. And without having like any hard feelings whatsoever, I was like, I'm so glad that I went through all of these hard things, because it helped me to become who I am. And it also forced me to learn everything that I've learned in order for me to help people, right? So had I not had the traumatic childhood I had I not had a husband who passed away suddenly, had I not had health challenges, I would not be the person I am today. And I'm profoundly grateful for having had all those challenges. And in those challenges, I was also willing to look at myself and figure out how to improve. So, what does this have to do with you? You're watching this going, well, whatever. What does this have to do with me? Where can you be grateful? What challenges can you be grateful for? Can you look at those challenges and are you willing to shift your perspective? Because if you can shift your perspective about certain things that you've gone through in your life, and some of those things might be profoundly unfair. I'm not condoning bad behavior on anybody's part, but even and I've gone through. I'm not going to get into the details, but I've gone through abusive situations, and I know how toxic and dark those situations are. But I'm also really, really grateful those things happened because it forced me to raise my standards and create some boundaries, energetic boundaries, as well as like just standards in general, that I don't tolerate certain behavior, that I will not get into certain types of relationships, whether they're personal or professional. And maybe I needed to go through certain experiences in order to come to that awareness. I mean, I don't know, everybody is so different, but what are the challenges in your life that you can be grateful for? And what are those challenges there to teach you? Because everything here, we're in earth school, whether you like it or not, we're in earth school. And we're here to learn and to grow and to become the best version of ourselves. And sometimes we have to go through incredibly challenging things in order to become the best version of ourselves. And the other thing is being grateful for even the smallest things. And I've spoken about this many, many times, that I started practicing gratitude back in 2014. And back then I worked privately with a coach, and she had me start doing a daily gratitude practice. And when she suggested that I do a gratitude practice, I wanted to throw the journal that she gave me in her face, because I was like, I was not in a good space. I had been diagnosed, my body hurt I had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. I felt like crap all the time, all day, every day. And my husband had passed away not that long before that. And it was just like really, really terrible things. And I didn't have any direction in my life. I didn't feel like I had anything to be grateful for. So her suggesting that I practice gratitude was like the most ridiculous thing that I had ever heard. And then somehow a few months after she suggested that, I started actually practicing gratitude. And honestly, they weren't earth-shattering gratitude things at all. They were just like little things. But that's the beauty of having a gratitude practice, that you can be grateful for the little things. And then because you're putting that energy out, the universe gives you more things to be grateful for. And those little things become bigger things. And like everything, I've said this so many times on the lives, and I talk about this all the time. Everything is energy and frequency. We live in this universe that whatever we're putting out is going to start boomeranging back to us. And so if you start to put out gratitude, sooner or later, you're going to have things boomeranging back to you that are going to be things that you can be grateful for. It won't happen right away, right? And it's actually kind of like, it's good that there is a delay in how the universe responds, because imagine if every little thought we thought started to boomerang back to us right away. Maybe we would be dealing with consequences that we don't want to be necessarily dealing with. So there's always this delay. And I kind of am grateful for that delay because it allows us to have a little buffer. But I have noticed it's hard not to notice how things work in this energy universe where we're putting certain types of energy out. And so just really start experimenting with it, right? Start practicing gratitude every single day. And just notice that when you do that, you feel better. Right away, the fact that you feel better is already a win. And then start to notice, like, what are the other things that start showing up for you that allow you to feel even better, that allow you to practice even deeper appreciation, deeper gratitude. And then the ultimate is, and I've been doing this the past several months, is as I'm going to sleep and as I'm waking up, the first thing I always think about is what I'm grateful for. And I always thank the creator, the fact that my eyes opened this morning and I'm awake and I'm alive and I'm breathing and I'm in a safe space and that I have a roof over my head, that I have food on my table, that I am able to take care of myself. And then it just kind of snowballs from there. So that's usually those are my first thoughts in the morning. And then as I'm going to bed, because my last practice of the day is always journaling and practicing gratitude, as I'm drifting off to sleep, I always think about the things that happened over the course of the day that I'm grateful for. And I'm in a state of gratitude as I go to sleep. This is so powerful. It really is life-changing. So if you're watching this video, you're hearing this, what I'm saying, however it shows up on your feed, whatever the interweb gods do, please heed what I'm saying and start doing it. Start practicing it. Do not treat this as just entertainment. Please start practicing it because it can change your life for the better. And I'm sharing this with you with that intention in mind. So with that said, I'm going to close out this live. I want to thank you for being a part of my online community. If you're not already subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe because I want to be able to continue to make this content, to put this information out into the world because this world so desperately needs to hear this kind of content. And I very much would like to help you to make your life better and more fabulous and all of the good things. So make sure you subscribe. If you are interested in working with me, I do take some one-on-one clients. There's also a program called Elevate, which guides you through a health transformation step by step. And I do live weekly calls for that program as well. So you still have access to me if you want to be a part of that program. And please share this video with anyone you think could really stand to benefit from hearing this information. And feel free to, share it on your pages, tag me if you can. I want to thank you for being a part of my online community. Check the links below this video because I share all of my tools and resources, things that have helped me to get healthier and feel better within my body, tools that I personally swear by and utilize every single day. And and check out all the resources and the links. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. And I will see you in the next live. Bye for now.